What's up, everyone? First attempt at the commentary, even though I wouldn't want to do the commentary. Twitch decided to mute my sound because I guess copyright music, so let's get a shot at some commentary. I wanted to upload this just full video because of this was just a heavy Vulture game. But the reason I don't like commentary in the past is I tried to do the commentary in the past, but it just becomes like play-by-play commentary. And so I didn't really have anything to talk about, so I figured we would just talk about a little bit of the patch that just happened. This was the first day of just a little small balance patch that affected Croak, Iva, Destiny, Rukon, Vresh, and so this is Croak. We have a ton of Croak games, and what they really did was they made his space damage a little bit lower. Doesn't really do anything because it scales pretty heavy. And what it also does is his space resets his charged M1. So before it was only your stealth. If you M1 someone, you get extra attack speed. If you stealth, resets your M1s. Now your space also does this, and this was their reasoning was it was hard for them to balance mobility and survivability, and they think it would make it more rewarding for people who can land their space and maybe for I guess people who are a little bit better or maybe more patient with their spaces can get more value off of it and get trades, win trades that they couldn't win before. But the issue with this is before in the past, when we say Croak sucks at Royale, he sucks kind of in the 1v1 at the end when people can just avoid his space. And it's really amplified when you're talking about melee players because melees are always going to be, in the melee range against Croak, and he has a min max distance, so he can't space on top of himself. He's got a minimum distance he can space to. So, a melee is very easy to dodge your min space. And so for that reason, it's very difficult to win a 1v1 against melees, but it's not very difficult to win against range. Like it can be, Jumong, has options, but he can still find his way to landing a space against a Jumong. And against, every range you just space during their M1 cast or any type of cast, they stand still for like a quarter second and you space during that time. And yeah, so it's not that hard. So now, I mean, I'll just say, since we see a Xander here, anytime you see a Xander now, you kind of just one-shot him because like Croak has some mobility to catch up to Xander, and now it's just so easy to reset your space against Blossom. You could reset it against, her tree. So the buff to me just didn't feel like the right change. The nerf on his space damage really hardly noticeable. And so this doesn't help I would have liked to see a balance of his melee matchups in the 1v1 at the end not be so brutal. I think I had later in the stay just get demolished by a Shifu where I'm just destroying an Alicia. So it just kind of doesn't change your hard matchup, make you even better against the matchups where people are already complaining about Croak. So I would have liked to see just a buff to survivability rather than mobility or any type of damage because all it does is amp the range matchups and um, like buffing survivability um, allows you to camp a little bit harder for sure, which is not the type of playstyle they wanted to reinforce. But it doesn't really let you camp harder against range because range want to be in that range spot. So if you're trying to camp a range, you're usually just losing because they're just going to harass you and just like you're just going to get hit by one Jumong M2, one Alicia M2, an Ashka M2, and you're just going to all that toxin you put on is not going to be worth it. So also, his R gives energy now, which really isn't a big deal. Also, they nerfed in this patch. Actually, I don't know. They didn't really nerf Destiny. Her R is a lower cooldown earlier in the game, but scales back to the way it is later in the game. Her R shield value is nerfed, but her damage is buffed. When she's got her R, her energy gains are reduced. Oh, but her damage and shield scale better. So it's nerfed early game, same or slightly buffed late game. So, and Destiny, I'm sure most of you know that can be very brutal if you're melee, especially. But against range, it's also very hard to just trade with her R. And late game, it's gonna be basically the same if I understand correctly. Vresh got they do a lot of compensation buffs. Like Vresh's E is worse early, same late. His damage is reduced, but not reduced when you have a purple on them. So like a lot of the changes or nerfs have like compensations to them where they're worse in one scenario, but basically the same if you get out of early game. They made melee M1s slightly faster when you're M1ing. So how melee M1s work is if you're holding down M1, you move slower. They nerfed it from like 80%, I think it was originally at, to 60%, and now it's at 70%, which is, uh, I guess it's hard to notice on some characters. It depends what character you play. I feel like it would help a lot for the Rook players. Maybe not a lot, but just a quality of life for probably certain characters like Rook. But you do still have to kind of M1 stop, M1 stop, or like M1 stop M1ing and try to catch up to them, M1 catch up to them. And these are for people who are strictly running away from you. Doesn't, affect many fights, to be honest, that are just trading because if you're M1ing a Jumong and he's M1ing back, you can M1 him. But if you guys are in an M1 fight, he stops and walks away, you have to stop, walk towards him, M1. So it's kind of just scenarios like that. It changes, but it's not a huge change. It's just quality of life. Iva got a huge change where her legendary M1 got changed, which I think her legendary M1 was pretty good, but they removed Zap, which was affected by it. So I guess I had to change that. So that is now when you space, you get oil to slow them. So then you can also light people up with flamethrower. So you're going to be doing a lot more DPS like that. But they added back tractor beam. They added a new mechanic if no one's played Royale before or no one's played Arena, where it's spell block. If you get hit by the taser, which is the new move, and you press a button during the half second after it hits you, you get stunned. If you don't press a button, you you don't get stunned. Or if you're caught in a cast time, like if you're pressing, Jumong M2 and he tasers you during a Jumong M2 cast, you'll get stunned. So you're gonna have to either cancel the M2 or somehow get out of it. Um, they also did some quality of life on his flamethrower. Uh, but overall, they did rework him a lot, and he still doesn't feel very strong. And again, it seems to be the changes that don't help the right spot that like the character need. Like this character is still probably worse than the original Iva because Iva had an in cap before consistent one. Now she's got an inconsistent stun, but when you hit the stun, it's nice. Her legendary bonus on Taser is dispelling, but I don't know how much you actually have to dispel in this game mode. You can dispel Croak stealth. Freya is going to be pretty devastating to go against a legendary Taser. I don't know how much more there is to dispel in Royale, especially because like supports aren't. There's no Lucy barrier to dispel. You can't really dispel anything off of Blossom as I recall. It's gonna be hard to dispel like a Bako Bulwark or anything like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be not one of those legendary bonuses I look forward to, I guess. Rukon barely got touched. Yeah, but I guess I mean we'll see how Iva is after a few more games with everyone. But from what I heard, Hot Biscuit don't want to throw him under the bus or anything, but I think he says that Iva is worse, still worse than than she was at the original point. But we'll see. I think she was better in twos because of the end cap, and now she doesn't have the end cap, so now she's just in some kind of awkward hyper carry spot where she's just not a better hyper carry than like Destiny or Jumong or anything like that. This is the end of the game. We have 12 kills. It ends up we end up getting the last two kills. I wanted to upload this game with just basically a re-upload content of the stream because of how easy the kills just came to me this game. I thought it was funny, streamer loot or whatever, streamer luck. But all these kills were just so free. You could just see how little how little effort it took to just kill some of these players. Uh, I did not want to do the commentary. I hope I filled the time well. I hope it didn't feel like I didn't want to do it or anything. But yeah, this was a high kill. We actually got a decent amount of high kill Croak games. I don't think we played too many melees. We had like one Shifu that just stomped us, and it was rough. But we had this 14 kill game. I think our next game after this was a 13 kill, 12 kill. But yeah, Croak just feels he gets the kills really quick now, and you get your legendary E to root a lot harder for them to get away. You get the legendary R, easy slow. So hope everyone enjoyed watching. Hope it wasn't too bad with the new commentary, and thanks for hanging out.